Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the United States, and I have for you today 2 alternative cards to this month's Paper Pumpkin Kit, which is called Exploring in Color. Let's get started. Here is a sneak peek, a quick peek I should say, at this month's kit. I love the beautiful box. And our color that comes with the kit is Copper Clay, one of the new in colors, and there's some twine. There is a little brochure that tells you that there's an add-on, so you can get extra cards and envelopes that coordinate. They're very similar to what comes in the kit, but they are a little bit different. And so that is an add-on that you can get. And then of course, as always, a sneak peek to next month's kit called Welcome In. It coordinates with this wonderful Countryside Inn suite. So I'm already excited to get that one. And then, of course, the flyer with the pictures of the cards as you would make them if you make them the way they come in the kit. Remember to double check on the back to make sure that you have everything. And there are always some alternative cards pictured on the back. There is an extra little sticker sheet that comes with this month's kit, so you can put those anywhere you would like. And then, of course, the kit itself. So there is a look at that. And I forgot too, because I had already taken them out and I have a lot mounted, but this is the stamp set that you get with a bunch of different sentiments, including a little happy birthday and then some other stamps, and we are going to use those. So the first card that I designed, when I saw those gorgeous cards, I of course had to immediately cut them apart, because if you notice, they have designs on the back. So this is actually the back of the card and this is the front, which we will use for the card. And my thought was to kind of use the design of the card itself as a jumping off point and do some casing. So let me pull it in so that I can show you what I mean. So the cards have basically little tags with them and then some embellishments, and those come with the kit, but there are stamps that you can use to make embellishments. So that's what I did. So for example, like I said, this is the card, this is the back. And so I used the Stylish Shapes dies for this, and we're going to use it again, and use that for my tag, and then use the stamp in the set and cut it out. So that's what we're going to do. So here is the front of the card, and we're going to change up where we put the label, but the idea is the same, to just basically let the card do the work, because it is a beautiful design. So we don't want to cover too much of it up or take away from it, distract from it. So that was my thought, because there is so much rich color in there. So I'm going to start with a basic white card base, and we're going to put that layer right on there. I'm just going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue. And for the second card, we're going to do something very different, but all 3 of the cards in the set lend themselves to this technique. So I'm just showing you a couple of them using one of the cards, but you can do the same kind of thing with all of the cards. And I'm going to show you some of the dies that I used, or that you could use to create more. So right away, instead of 9 cards, you end up with 18 just by cutting them in half. I debated using the envelopes too as a layer, and you certainly could. I love to do that, but the envelopes are less colorful. There's less of a design on there. Here's one, here is another, and here is the third one. So you certainly could do some stamping here and, you know, cut them apart obviously and make it card front size and then do some stamping. But I decided not to use those this time, but to go with this, because there is so much there, so much rich color, like I said. So there is our card base. And then for the tag, I'm using colors that coordinate with the kit. So this one is Pebbled Path, again, one of the in colors. And we're gonna make the first layer of the tag with another in color. It's called Moody Mauve. And I'm using Copper Clay since that was the color that came with the kit. And yes, that's another in color. You could also do Moody Mauve. You could use, you know, any of the darker shades on this, but I decided to use the Copper Clay. We're just gonna stamp that happy birthday. and then I'm gonna cut it out with the die that coordinates. But before I do that, we'll do a little more stamping. So I'll just move that aside for now, put it here so it's handy. And for the little compass, the stamp comes with the kit, and I've got Boho blue, and you can see where I stamped and cut the first one out. So I'm gonna grab also my Boho blue ink, and I'm just gonna stamp it, tone on tone, but the ink is always darker than the cardstock, so it's easy to see. It's got some good definition, some good contrast. And then I'm gonna cut that out. So I'm gonna do those two things. I'm gonna cut this out with the die and fussy cut this with my snips, my paper snips, and I will be right back. All right, so now that we have everything cut out, we're just gonna put them together. And that's the nice thing too. Doing this and making just a simple tag with a little embellishment, they come together quickly, and so you can make a lot of them pretty easily. So I'm gonna take my 2 layers of my tag and put them together with my Stampin' Seal. Just like this. And then I'm bringing in, you saw the twine that comes with the kit, and of course you can use that, but because there's only so much of it, I wanted to bring in something else that could be used just as easily and that obviously there's more of. So I'm choosing the natural wavy trim. So all I did, I just wanted a little bit on the bottom because I don't even really want it hanging over as much as it is there. So we're gonna make a smaller loop this time, I think. And it does tend to want to come apart, but hopefully it won't be an issue. And so I'm just gonna put a glue dot in the middle to hold those 2 sides together. So like I said, I'm gonna just put one here, and that'll hold the 2 loops or the 2 sides together. And then I'm gonna put a couple of them on the front, and we're gonna attach that to the tag like this. I think we'll do it, let me see. I'm gonna move this just a little bit. So I want the one side to be longer than it is. Well, maybe not. It's adhering really well. So I think we'll just leave it like that. So it will peek out a little bit. And then I'm using my dimensionals, and there are some that come with the kit. And I'm using the ends, or the side, I guess, because I wanted to overlap that twine. Cut it. Whoops. And we're gonna lay it here like this. So it spans pretty much the length of the tag, and it helps hold that trim in place. So you could use the regular glue dots, or the dimensionals, I mean, but I think this works better. And this time I'm gonna put it up here because I don't want it to cover that. So that was my thinking too. So actually I should have moved the loop down a little bit, but I think we'll do this. So it's still just kind of the sky that's being taken up. Oh, that's right, and I was gonna do this in a different color. Let me see. I think we'll still go with the blue, but you may want to think about that too. You could do it in the Daffodil Delight and bring that color out, or in the Copper Clay. That might be really pretty, but I'm going to use the Boho blue since that's what I have, and I bumped this up with a dimensional 2. So let me grab those. Just one right here. And I am going to move it down because I want it to be, I want to make sure you can see it. Although I guess you could still hear too, but I think I'm going to do it this way. And so they're both bumped up with dimensionals. And so that's it. And my thinking was in making these cards that there are a lot of die sets that you can use for the labels. So let me show you those really quickly. We used, first of all, Stylish Shapes for this one. And with this die set, there are a lot of options because you can layer them. I thought the circles would work really well too because some of the sentiments are bigger, like this one. And even this one this one especially might work well in a circle, and you can layer it. And then obviously I use these, but the squares, anything would work. Squares would work for that too. So this is a great set to use for those labels. Another one that I think would work really well is the All That dies. And here are those. So some of these would work well. And then what we're going to use for the next card, the Something Fancy dies. So any die set where there are layers, especially, the All That one doesn't have layers, but I think it works if you just want to do one tag and not layer it. But these definitely work if you want to layer them. And, you know, again, this set to me is more of a masculine feel. So that's what I was going with, you know, the trim that we used and the colors, but those are, of course, picked up in the card as well. So let me show you, though, how to make a masculine or a feminine card with card number 2. So here is card number 2. And again, this is basically, you've used up all your card fronts and your card backs, and you still want to use the set and make more masculine cards or feminine, as you'll see in a second. But this is what I decided to do. I love using my stamps to make my own designer series paper, so that's what I did. I also purposely chose colors that were not in the kit. So this is Night of Navy, this is Basic Gray, and this is one of our new ones, Pecan Pie. And that was my thinking as well, that when you're doing something like this, you can use any color combination you want. So here is, of course, obviously a masculine card, but we're going to make a feminine card using the same kind of design. So I'm starting again with my basic white. And we're going to put that aside because we're going to do some stamping and making our own designer series paper. All right, so I'm bringing in a scrap that we're going to stamp on because we will be going off the edges of the cardstock because I think that looks better. And we're going to start with Melon Mambo, and that's going to be for our boot. We're just going to stamp randomly. And because all 3 of the stamps are larger, we want to leave enough space in between that we can stamp 2 sort of larger stamps. Sometimes you usually have a combination of large and small. And so you start from largest, work to smallest, and fill in the spaces. But this is a little bit more challenging. I think we'll do that. So there's our boot. And now we're going to bring in Azure Afternoon, one of our brand new colors, which has quickly become one of my favorites. And we're going to use that for the mug. We're going to stamp that mug in Azure Afternoon. And then last but not least, Gorgeous Grape for the compass. And so there we have our background. And I'm going to bring Melon Mambo in one more time with a scrap I have of basic white. And we're going to stamp the sentiment, cheers to another adventure. Actually, I changed my mind. We are going to do because we're going to be actually using Melon Mambo. Oh yeah, that is what I want to use, because we're going to use Melon Mambo for the background, which I'll show you in a minute. And so we will coordinate with that. And I'm going to use those Something Fancy dies to cut this out with this size of label. And I'm going to do that and be right back. And so here we have our label, our first layer, and for the second layer I cut one out at the larger size in Gorgeous Grape. So we're going to put those together with some Stampin', or actually before we do that, no, we are going to do that. We're going to put these two together with our Stampin' Seal. And before we put this on the card, we're going to bring in some ribbon. Instead of using the trim, we're going to use something a little more feminine, and that is our Azure Afternoon ribbon. And this ribbon comes in a 3-pack called the Sheer Ribbon Combo Pack, and it comes with Bubble Bath and Lemon Lolly ribbon as well. But of course we're using this one because it coordinates. And for this I moved it down because I actually had a kind of a blank space here that I wanted to cover, but I feel like this one's covered pretty well. So if we wanted to, we could put it right in the middle, or we could put it down here. Maybe we'll put it down here again. I like the look of it there. So I'm gonna grab my glue dots again. And then we'll put it down about here, leaving enough space so that the tag will fit because it's a little bit wide. And grab another glue dot. Such a pretty color. Now we will put it on the card front. But before we do that, like I said, I cut a piece of Melon Mambo. Whoops, and that looks big. Let's see. Oh no, that's right. Same size as the card front, 5.5 inches by 4 1/4. So we will put that on first with some multi-purpose liquid glue. And now we can put this layer on with our Stampin' Seal. And remember to always put that seal right over that ribbon as another layer of adhesive on it to help hold it in place. And then we'll put this on with some seal. And in this case, I put it on each end because I know that ribbon is thick in the middle so that I can really make sure it's held down on either side on the card. And so those are the cards. I did debate too on adding some bling, but then I decided not to. I decided I liked a little bit of a cleaner look, but you certainly could add some glossy dots or something that in coordinating colors with whichever colors you use. So again, here you have your feminine and your masculine card made with exactly the same stamps. I like the versatility. Like I said, when I first saw the stamps and the cards for this set, I was thinking masculine, but we want to be able to use it with everything. So here's an idea for you that I hope you like. So that's alternative number 2. Let me bring back in the first one again. Both variations of that. And again, I would do this with all of the cards in the set and make them all up in similar ways, probably changing up, sometimes using the boot as the embellishment, sometimes using the mug just to make them a little bit different, and fussy cutting them out so that you have another embellishment on the card. As with these, you could also add bling, but like I said, I felt like the cards really were doing the work here and I wanted that to continue. So that is it. Those are my alternatives. And I showed you the dies that I used. So I hope you like my alternatives for this month. Thanks so much for watching every month. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate your positive comments. They mean a lot. So if you do like them, please let me know. Remember to check out my other videos. I have lots of card videos and scrapbook pages, home decor items, tips, techniques. I have been trying lately to post my Facebook Lives and editing out the chit chat so that I can show you some techniques and different things that way too. So please check them out. If you click on the bell, you'll be notified when I post new videos. And of course, remember to subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I will see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Happy stamping.